or with the grain.
Can't see the photo.
That kind of, oh, wow. Whoa.
It's a U.
Oh,
It's U, root and stem, you know, where it joins.
What do you want it to become? A deep vessel or some bowls or what?
I can't go too deep, but that's for sure. But I don't know I don't know. I just want to get some ideas. I've had it around and I don't know what to do with it.
Well, if you can't go too deep, and I understand that, I would cut it in half and make two things out of it.
That's what I was thinking. And do
Yeah.
like,
I'm going to run. Let me run upstairs real quick and I'll show you what he did like that.
see that?
Hey, guys.
It's about 5 or 6 inches in diameter.
Looks bigger than that.
is it green?
No, it's U. But see that, the grain?
Oh, okay.
That's a beautiful piece of wood. You're gonna get some beautiful things out of that.
That's what I'm wondering, what to get, you know? I know I hate to ruin it.
Well, you have to take a chance. I would take on a bandsaw and make one side flat, cut it in half, and then just start turning and see what it
Well, you-
looks like.
You may make bowls.
Yeah, make two bowls.
Yeah. Here's an example of what you can do with that.
I'm not seeing anything here. Let's see, what am I gonna?
I can see myself.
I just see myself. I don't know how to get the. Oh, yeah.
Move it back a little bit, Gary.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
it's blurry.
There we go.
I see. I see.
Okay, this is a juniper root burl that was turned in a demo at the Hartford Symposium in 90 minutes by Christian Delon, the French turner. And not only did he do that in 90 minutes, he also turned the finial,
But
which I don't really think goes very well in it, but just to
is
show
that?
you what you can do.
Is that end grain or side grain?
So you got time, Bob.
Well-
That's it, before tonight's up.
It's just a big root burl, so there really isn't
Oh, I
any
see.
grain. No, it just had, when he put it on lathe, it just had branches coming out in all directions.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's what you're dealing with.
I think you're right. I think I just cut it in half and just maybe put a faceplate on it and then see what happens.
I would do it end grain, quite
Yeah.
frankly, because
Well, you get more out.
you'll get more out of it perhaps, and it'll distort less that way too. Because even though you think it's dry, it's not really dry and it'll warp.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it hasn't.
Maybe. How long did you say you had it?
I guess almost a year now.
Okay, yeah, it might be.
Oh, it's still wet.
Yeah.
It's still wet. I can feel it's moist.
Oh, I had a half round of Osage orange that was just maybe 6 inches across. I had it for 10 years, and when I started blowing it, it was moist inside. It was hollow. It got hot, and I could feel the water coming out of it after 10 years.
Yeah.
It's so dense. That's
tell
probably
me-
why. You know,
I've switched to a different browser. Tell me if I start breaking up again, because I want to know how my connection is working.
I would think
What is that? See?
when you go to do it there, I would think about where you want the knots to be. Do you want the knots to be, around the bowl, and then you'd have to be cutting it as an end grain bowl?
Yeah, right.
Or if you do it side grain, then they might have them around a couple on the bottom or something like that. I think that's what you need to take advantage of is the,
What kind of wood did you say that?
I think it's you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Soft,
Uh,
great.
It's
not a hard-
Japanese yew or real yew?
I think it's Japanese. It was his
Yeah.
bushes out in front of his house, you know.
Right. The reason I ask is because the real yew from UK
Yeah, that's
is
hard.
it's a highly toxic wood.
Hmm. Hmm.
Is there a yew tree or are they only bushes?
I think
Oh,
it's
this
a
is
tree in
wood.
the UK.
Yeah, it's a tree in the UK, but here I think it's just, well, I mean, there are yew trees, but this is just a ornamental bush.
Yeah, it's probably Japanese yew.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed. You see online, you see some UK turners turning real yew trees, and they don't talk about how toxic they are. God, if you look at toxicity list, it's nasty. I mean, heart problems and all kinds of stuff.
I'll have to see what shape it's going to be, and then whatever is not going to be in the final product, I can take that, lop that off. But
Yeah.
I don't know, but we'll see. I'll put it on my list. I'll put it on my list.
We definitely want to see what you end up with, Bob. That's going to be a gem. And you've got 2 shots at it, right? You're going to make at least 2 things. You could even maybe get 3 out of that if you want to make them small.
Well, that's true. Small is better for me because I don't have the deep stuff to work with.
Yeah. I find my turnings smaller and smaller too, and it's not a choice I've made. It's just the wood I have and kind of the inclination, I guess.
You can always make it smaller. You can't make it bigger.
Right.
Oh, by the way, Ken, congratulations. You get the cover for the March album.
Oh, do I? Oh, okay. Thanks.
Yeah, I put your pepper and salt grinders on there. Nobody
did
gets
you?
to see it, but those of us who have the administrator privileges on our account, but I just thought you should know.
Okay.
March?
I made 2 more.
April.
I made 2 more since then.
Uh-huh. You've encouraged me. After I made 2 and gave them to my kids, I kind of quit because I remember it as being pretty tedious, but I never made one for myself. So I have 1 more outstanding.
Yeah, these are the experimental ones here. One's black, one's salt, and one's pepper.
Let me
Which is
I'm gonna
which?
just a sec. I'm gonna screen.
hang on.
I'm on speaker. Why?
Can you see it?
There we go. Yeah. Whoa.
This pepper and salt. And the reason I did it was actually just to test my router whether I could do this carving. This is all carved by the router.
That's really
Good
cool.
grief.
Yeah, so this is just a trial, you know. I wasn't very happy the way it turned out because, you know, you just mentioned about taking material off. Originally, I had planned to have this little round out here, a shape, a little more at the bottom. But then this is poplar, and I was playing around with it. And when I went to size it, I went and sized this part a little less than it should have been. And once you got it less, I mean, there's nothing else you can do. So I just got this shape out there. And then when you're doing 2, you have to do the second one to match the first one. So I did the second one to match it. And
Wait, it's an experiment, right?
it's an experiment, yeah.
So you don't have to make the second one match the first one. It's an
Wow.
experiment.
I should have.
So how did you do that? Did you build some kind of a curvy,
Yeah. The router,
constraining thing?
yeah. You saw the stuff I had on my Delta, right? The little tool that I had. Okay,
Yeah.
I've updated that, and now I've got a cam. It actually goes on a bearing that actually goes and on a cam that goes that shape. And I can just change that shape, whatever shape I want.
But you
So-
slide it back and forth up and down your ways.
No, it's stationary. It's on bearings.
How do you go the full length of the pepper mill?
It's on a bearing.
I'm having a hard time picturing it.
Yeah. Well, I was supposed to have demonstrated this last year, but I guess we'll have to wait until November or December, maybe, when we get back together.
Why don't you talk to the program chair about that?
You're the guy, right?
Yeah. Do you have the setup to do the video from your shop?
Oh, no.
I'm
I tried taking process photographs, and the trouble is you get so involved once you get involved in it, you forget about taking the photographs, You
Yeah,
just keep doing it and trying to get it done,
Yes. It's interesting because I kind of made a habit of taking process pictures of my turnings, but I was concerned about getting dust on my single lens reflex camera. So I've actually switched over to my
iPhone.
Android phone,
Yeah.
and it's working really well.
Yeah.
And I don't care if I get dust on that.
Well, until you get wood chips down in there where the charger goes. That keeps happening. to
Yeah,
me.
right. I try to be a little careful.
I've done
Oh,
that
it's in
too.
my pocket. There shouldn't be getting big chunks of maple in there.
I got I just get my phones are not phones. It's actually my heart monitor, but they're hand-me-downs from my son. When he gets tired of his old phone, he gets a new one and gives me his old one. And so now I have a Pixel 2, and the camera on that thing is really good.
An
Even though they
iPhone?
don't support it anymore.
How are you, Ellen?
I'm doing great. I missed you guys.
Well, hi, Ellen.
Yeah, it's been a long
I
time.
brought blue skies with me like Bob did.
blue sky.
I just had to jump on and say hi. It's been way too long since I've seen you all.
Yes, it
Oh
has.
my God, I see Steve and Marjorie.
All the strangers are here.
Okay, I've got something to show you, Steve.
That strangers are strange ones.
Yeah, you made Marjorie nervous when you stood up there, Gary.
I was gonna say something. I didn't.
It's a ball.
Did you get those pictures I sent you last night?
I did.
This is it. You can't see it as well, but
That was definitely better in
this you cut this for me, so this is yours.
You're too close, Gary, or else it's real fuzzy.
Yeah, pull back.
Yeah, it's still not focusing, but I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's with the blanks that you cut.
Maple from that you got from Steve Drake.
Oh, yeah, and by the way, I still need to get with you, Roman, on that. I've got a bunch of pieces that could be good for small turnings, or they're going in my fireplace. But I'd rather have you look and see if any of them are valuable for you before they go in the fireplace, because they're figured. I'm not going to do a lot of small stuff, and I don't know if anybody wants it or not. But
how big are they?
I've got a lot of different pieces and different chunks where you may have to cut out what you want out of it.
Or he could put the
When's a good time to come by?
This is about 3.5. It's about 3. I don't have a ruler, but it's about 3.5 or 4 inches in diameter. So anything I can make spheres out of. Plus, I also plan to make some more teacups. So I think I
think we lost you again, Gary.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I go away?
There you are. You're back.
I'm sorry. I've got a real bandwidth problem here. I try to fix it, but it's not working. My files just is not working.
Ouch.
We just upgraded
Yeah.
to a mesh network yesterday, and we have fiber to the house. I tested, and like each of my PCs have now like 500 to 800 up and down. It's like, okay, that'll work.
Yeah.
That'll do.
Yeah, I'm really upset with my files.
Yeah, I
So
put a
what's the story?
tri-mesh
I
in
don't
the
want to.
house.
Yeah, that's what we have, right? The mesh.
Yep.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
What is that?
It's a different kind of router where you can put multiple routers, but it's one network, so you don't have to change which network you're connected to, and it's high speed throughout the house. The new ones are very high throughput.
So I don't want to say anything to make you sad, but how come you have a new dog?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we lost our other dog this summer. He lived a good life though.
I forgot what a pain in the ass puppies are.
Oh my God. She's
Sorry, you
so
did
good.
have kids, right? You still have children and grandchildren.
Wait a
how did
minute.
you
We
forget
only
this?
have one child
As
in
of-
the house.
As of
I know,
Saturday,
I know.
we're down to Chris. Oh yeah, you saw probably the
did.
note. We had the stereo blasting on 11.
It's great
Late-
because
late
they,
at night.
yeah, they come over twice a week and I watch them, so I can actually be grandma and give them sweets and junk and not have to deal with them the next day asking for it again. Actually, dog is asking now.
What breed of dog have you got, Steve?
She's a mix, 75% like a blue nose brindle pit, 12% lab, 12% coonhound.
Ooh, does that mean howling?
It hasn't. She hasn't been too vocal yet, so thankfully, she, other than a slightly narrower muzzle, she looks very much like a blue nose pit.
She has a very intelligent face. You can see somebody's home in those eyes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Gary. What a nice compliment you're paying me.
I don't even like dogs.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Amy.
Hey, Amy.
Ah, you're talking about dogs. Come here, Harry. Up. Come on.
That's all right. I'm on
See, now he doesn't. Harry, come on. Come on. Good boy. Good boy.
Here we go. What a cutie. Lick my face.
He's actually a Yorkie. I got him. He was about 1.5 years old, and certainly not homeless and not a rescue, but he was rehomed. Someone was being transferred overseas, and I got lucky. So,
oh, that's very cool.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
Everybody's good. Who painted that painting behind you, Amy?
That's an Appel. You know, Appel, Appel. I think he's a French artist. I like him very much because I don't really go for a lot of abstracts because they're a little too abstract. But I like his work. I don't know why. I picked it up years ago. So anyway,
I was just emailing with Paul Fennell about Jackson Pollock's brother Charles. It thought Jack had an older brother Charles who was also an abstract artist, and there was an article in my newsfeed today. Some really interesting stuff. It's worth looking at.
if you want to see a great documentary about it's about what's her name, Guggenheim, the heiress who was
Peggy.
what was her name again? Peggy, yeah, Peggy Guggenheim. And it's on Amazon or something like that. And it's really fabulous. It's not just about her life, but it's about how she had this instinct for picking out these fabulous artists that nobody else would, and how she really, she was a supporter of the arts as they were emerging. It's really fascinating, But
there's this little museum in New York.
Whoops. Yeah, I'm trying to find this here. anyway, Ellen, I haven't seen you in ages. How are you doing?
I'm good. I was just saying that, you know, I've missed everybody and I had an
Yeah.
opportunity to jump on, and I wanted to say hi to everybody.
Yeah, I actually have an ulterior motive. I don't want to chime in. So when there's a lull in the conversation, I have something I want some advice on.
Let's
Do it.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave
So-
now. I got
oh,
my ice, I'm
is it-
gonna run.
Is this,
See you, Bob.
All right,
is
Bob,
this-
thanks.
is this a lull?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for the chips.
We want to see that piece when it comes out.
If you live that long. Or if I live
Oh,
that long.
One can hope.
So I have this I have this nice bowl. It's a cherry bowl, you know, and but oh no, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong cherry bowl. I ended up turning 2 cherry bowls. This one is heavy because I haven't hollowed it out yet. So this one has a lot of these beetle marks. You know what I'm talking about? Where they gnaw out the beetle, these things here. Well, it turned it, and it's a nice fruit bowl kind of shape. And I noticed on the bottom that it's got these 2 big gashes in it. Can you see?
Oh yeah, very clearly.
It's a lot bigger. Now I can, I haven't hollowed it out yet, so I can reshape it to see if I can just make that a little, those are shallower. They're too, but the question is, I've tried over the years to, I've got sawdust up the kazoo. I saved away a bag of sawdust, so I can do that. But I've never had luck with that because the staining with the CA glue and all that kind of stuff. So I've usually just kind of picked it out and highlighted it.
Yeah.
But these look like gashes. It looks like an error as opposed to, natural, God-given, beetles. So that's what I'm looking for. I just did this yesterday, so I was wondering if anybody has some advice other than stick to what I've been doing, which is just,
Well,
embrace it.
First of all, look up the work of Dale Nish.
Yeah, I know him, so I could do that. You see what I'm saying? You see, so you see that.
Yeah,
and then this one is like a real gash. You see.
What I would do with them is fill them with brass powder or key filings. I've done this and works really well. I like that kind of thing in metal.
Yeah. So if I guess the thing is though, is if I do those, I need to kind of like do all of them,
You can
And
do
it's-
all of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll think about that because
Problem is, Dale Nish, more
yeah.
holes, that one's kind of caught in the crack. It has whole holes, it has 2 enough, so that's why I would fill them. Normally I say don't fill it. I think in that case a nice metal sheen would look nice.
So I have the same issue that Amy has. Tell me what you think. Should I fill these in this
No.
bowl?
Yeah.
It's a maple. It's not cherry.
I think
but other than
I think
that-
he needed it to, I think he needed to give it to Roman and stick it in one of his pressure pots.
Well, I've got a pressure pot, but I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm putting finish on it now.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a Dale Nish for sure.
And like I said, for me, it's like I don't mind, but it's just that those 2 are just so big. It looks like an error. It looks, but
If it was me, I would get some epoxy
yeah,
and put
yeah.
black dye in it
That's what I was thinking.
and highlight those.
all of them,
those
the whole
things.
thing. See, that's the thing. I have to do all the same or none of them. I can't. Some of the that's if I'm going to fill in a couple. Some of these are middle ones like that.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: if you fill it in with what I'm going to do, by the way, is I'm going to hollow it out and see, what's on the inside. I have no idea.
Well, hopefully you'll find more gold.
Could I hope so? Could look like your bowl, But when you use the epoxy, do you just you do one at a time? You lather it and then sand it down. How do you do that? I've seen 100. Here's the thing. I've seen 100 demos on it, and I don't pay attention because I'm too worried about getting it round. You know?
If I'm filming something like that, I would get some 5-minute epoxy
Yeah.
and mix it up with black dye of some sort.
Yep.
Or
And just in small amounts and put it in there, a few of them at a time, so that it's not going to run out because the 5-minute epoxy is too thick.
Right.
And you're probably going to get some bubbles.
Mhm.
But when you're done, you
just
your
hand-
finish will cover that.
You
So
hand
don't
sand
really
it.
have to worry about that.
yeah,
So
you
when
That's how I
gotta,
would do it.
Okay.
I would
Well,
recommend
it's
15
it's
minute
only a piece of wood. I have to try it sometime. So maybe I'll do the inside with metal and the outside with black, and we'll have a hole off.
black here. I think I would do a nice burgundy red.
Yeah. I wouldn't do black, but some Oh, okay. You know, it's only a piece of wood.
Right.
Just the fact that I only do 2 a year is, you know, I've got plenty of time.
I've used funded epoxy. I find it just way too quick for me. I would use 15 minute. That way it'll give you more leeway to slop it and not worry about hardening before you're done.
Yeah. Okay. Like I said, it's not, you know, it's what I had, and it's not special, but I usually like the holes, but these gashes are a little too much, and then they have some much longer ones. I don't know if they came from the same see these. Yeah, this has also, but if you can see on the inside of this one here, it also has them, but it's nothing. I mean, it's just normal stuff that we're used to. So anyway, that's about it.
Amy,
Yep.
why don't you try Bondo? And I've used some on Bondo. You know,
Bondo.
Yeah. And
I've heard of it. What exactly is it? Isn't that for cement?
You go to an automotive store.
Right.
And it's a 2-part, and you get it's like a paste.
Yeah.
It smells really good.
What's that?
It smells really good.
Well, I've done a couple. It looks pretty good.
Didn't you say smells?
It's
Smells.
extreme.
It doesn't smell.
Oh, really?
No, it doesn't smell. Bondo?
You smell?
No.
It used to smell horrible.
No.
Yeah, in the 70s when I was doing my cars, it didn't smell very good.
That was before COVID, when you could still smell.
Hey, Tim,
got one that's pretty much in the same situation. I have not got it. This is about 10 years, and I never figured out what to do with it. It's full of holes too.
Yeah, when there's just a few holes, I embrace it. You know, this is the first one that was really holier than thou. Harry, shush.
Tim, are we able to? Can I share my screen if I were?
Yeah.
Could I tell a quick little story?
I believe so. Yes. If you can't, let me know.
Okay. I've gotten involved in this little Tacoma. It's called Tacoma Artery. It's a sort of artist sort of collaborative that have window displays in a couple of places in town from a woman who used to have a shop in downtown, but then in COVID, it sort of closed. And I've met a number of different artists through this. Before I had met this one, I was just driving back from Olney one day, and this person called me and said, "Could you meet me in front of historic Tacoma display? I want to take a picture of someone in front of that window." And he said, "I've never met you, but I saw your stuff in there." And it's this French guy, super nice guy. He's like my new best friend. And so I said, "Sure, I'll meet you there." He comes up with his bicycle, and he's got an Afghan camera, a tin type sort of camera. He bought this camera actually in Afghanistan when he lived there. And he brings it on the back of a bicycle with a little, his own little dark room and stuff. And it was so cool when he started doing it. I started filming, and I made this tiny little film that I would show. And then I'll show you a couple of things that we're doing together along with another artist person that that I met through this collaborative. But I'm going to try to just show this little video. If it works, great. If it doesn't, let me see what's. It says host disabled participant screen sharing. So it's a 1-minute video, but. Tim, it says it's disabled.
Yeah, that's because Tim's the host. He has to hand over hosting to you.
Well, I don't need to host. I just need to share.
I got.
It looks like we can all share now.
I think they can share. Yeah.
Now we can. Yeah. Can you see this?
Yep.
My black screen.
Very windy. Hi.
This is awesome.
It's a beret.
So this is you in negative.
How can he pour that out there in the light? Why isn't it being exposed?
It's already exposed and sort of developed. This is.
I can't believe it.
Oh, I see. It's developer.
Outdoor shot are the hardest to me. Yeah, it's gonna.
Oh my God! Look at that.
Very short.
Steph, is that on metal?
Sort of glass.
Pretty cool.
I look pretty stern though.
I like it.
Maybe you needed the beret.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
This guy, and
It's
so
great.
he just started. He bought this new little kind of a little 3-inch plate, and he's going to film some cherry blossoms. And he said, "Why don't you make some wooden frames for these little 3-inch? These aren't cherry trees." He lives on a street that has a lot of cherry blossoms here in Tacoma Park. So I made some of these just that, with cherry limb. They're nice and thin. I think he wanted them to be actually, I think he likes these more natural ones that don't detract from the picture so much. But it's just been a lot of fun working with him. And then one of the other artists who's working on the social media, and she was in Tacoma Park, and she came and I showed her around my workshop, and she was very taken with a lot of that. And she saw a little box of my practice pyro carving and painting pieces, little 2x3 pieces and stuff. She's like, "Oh my gosh, what are you gonna do with those?" And I said, "I don't know, nothing. They're just like sitting there." So she took a bunch of them home, and I've lost that one, but she put them together in this sort of 3-dimensional thing and framed it, and that's what it looks like. It's really, I just really love it.
That's great.
That's cool.
But you said you were going to say took them home and made jewelry out of them. That would also work.
Well, you know what? A friend of my daughter's, when you like these frames that I'm doing, I just slice it thinly on the bandsaw, and then I use hot glue to mount it to a sort of glue block. And so I use a parting tool, to get, so this is inset. So if I do 2 rings a little bit off, and so usually the centerpiece stays on there, and so there's a nice little thin round thing, and I've been even making them smaller and sanding them, and I'm going to send those to my daughter's friend who makes jewelry, and let her, I don't know, do something or other with them.
Yeah.
What do you finish it with?
This just I just put just walnut oil on it, and then I just buffed it.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That is great. You know, that I like that idea an awful lot.
Those are very nice.
I mean, actually, like the first several I did, this was a limb that was, I don't know, at least a year old.
Oh.
And I sliced it thin though, and it still had enough moisture. The first night when I left one of these in here, and of course, well, this is a limb, so it just shrunk concentrically, and I could sort of barely get the test piece out. So I'm still sort of trying to figure out how to keep the bark on. It's not easy because you can see some of the gaps in there.
Yeah.
I've taken some and sliced them and just drilled out the very pith at first and let them try to dry in a bag. And it probably would be easier if I just took the bark off, let the natural edge, or whatever you call that. But
I thought you were going to say that the glass actually cracked because
I think if I left it in there, if I left it in there, it might have,
It would have, yeah.
Hey guys, I don't mean to interrupt, but I do have to go. And it was wonderful seeing all of you guys.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, nice to see you, Ellen.
See you, Ellen.
I'll jump on as I can. Everybody have be safe, get vaccinated.
How are your
Stay
boys?
positive, be negative.
How are your boys doing?
Okay.
The boys are great, thank you. We have another week or so until the rest of Jacob's colleges come through. So his top 3. So we have to wait a little bit, and but he knows he's going somewhere because he's gotten into a bunch of places, and Noah's doing great. He's finishing his junior year, so thank you, friends.
How can it be junior already? Jeez.
Yeah, it's craziness. He's
thought it was-
about to be 21, Gary. Yeah, crazy. He's coming over to your house to grab a bottle of wine.
Okay.
All right, be well, everybody.
You take care. Bye-bye.
Ellen,
Yeah, Jeff, I've tried to dry cookies like that, and every one is different.
Yeah.
I put them in a brown paper bag and throw them under the stairs for a year, and some of them crack, some of them the bark comes off, some the bark stays on. Every one is unique and individual, so plan for the best, and whatever comes out comes out.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I probably cut 25 or 30, and one of them, after I did these first little tests and put them all in a bag, and they're all doing very different things, even though they're consecutive pieces in a doggone limb.
Right. But even if you get 30%, you've still got good material to work with.
Yeah.
I took some. I have a limb from a peach tree as well. That I took some, what do you call those? You call these cookies when you cut them like that? Is that what you said? Yeah.
Yes. I know for my woodworkers, the cookies are the round things that they shove into the furniture. I have a quick question. If you can I ask you about the epoxy again? I have a quick question to finish that up. Epoxy doesn't seep into, it's a surface, right? It doesn't go into the wood. Is that correct? So so you're layering it into the holes, but it's a surface stuff. And then when I'm finished, do I sand it off by hand?
Yep. Well, hopefully you can maybe sand the first part off with a drill, but by hand, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
It'll sand off.
It'll sand off. That's what okay. Yeah. Okay, we'll give it a shot. It's only wood.
Amy, here's a sample. Here's a sample of what I did.
Well, I can't see you. I'm only seeing. Hold on.
Hang on.
Could we go back to the
Hang on.
speaker? Yep. Thank you.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah.
And that's Bondo. And that's Bondo.
That's Bondo. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
But the
and
same thing.
I just stained. I stained the epoxy with this is just ink.
Mhm.
And after I mixed it up and it was, dark, then I put the agent to solidify it. And you
Right.
just put just a little bit of agent.
Yeah. So it's not so much the Bondo that or the epoxy that I'm not concerned about, but I'm trying to figure out is its effect on the wood around it. So the thing is that should I no.
Seal the wood first.
So my question is, do I put finish on it and then put the Bondo in to protect the wood, or it's just not necessary? Just put the let me just put the epoxy in, and then after it dries and everything, that just sand it off, and then I can finish the whole thing.
It dries in about 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, you can sand it.
I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about the surrounding cherry wood.
It's possible that if you've got real punky wood, that it'll go into that, but you don't have that. You've got
okay, but
cherry.
That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. Okay, sounds good. It's worth a shot. Honestly, I'll go get a piece of maple or cherry, and I'll just drill some holes in it and practice.
Try it out and see.
Yeah, exactly. Terrific.
It's not thin. It does seep for like half around the.
Yeah, I'll play with it first before I put it on this. It's not.
Okay, but Amy, there is one problem. It's easy to talk about sanding, but the hardness of the epoxy is not the same as the hardness of the wood that surrounds. Most woods are softer than epoxy. Start sanding carelessly, you're going to preferentially sand away the wood around it rather than the epoxy.
Exactly.
So you have to be really careful to sand only the epoxy.
Got it. Because if I sand a broader piece, I end up having a little lump of epoxy followed by a low spots of wood.
Yes, absolutely. Don't ask me how I know.
Exactly. No, I understand. Terrific.
But if you do the sanding as soon as it's dry and not before it's sat there for a week and got nice and hard, you won't have nearly as much problem with that.
Got it.
You do it right away.
Terrific.
Hey, Roman, you're the expert on this. Tell me, when you have a piece that's half wood and half epoxy, how do you sand it so it doesn't get lumpy?
Good question. I just sand it on the lathe for the most part. If I'm really noticing that the epoxy isn't sanding, then I'll just sand it by hand there. But I don't really have too many problems with the difference in hardness of the wood.
Okay.
Ken, does that become a problem with Bondo?
What's that?
Does that become a problem with Bondo? I imagine Bondo is a lot softer than epoxy.
Well, I don't think there's a problem. It looks pretty good to me. And this was just experimental. I was just playing around. And I did one. The only thing is it doesn't give you the real black color. It's not jet black. I also tried it with red. And the red was a little more pink than red. And that was an alcohol dye that I had.
Oh, you might want to try India ink.
That's what this is.
Ah, okay.
This is India ink, yeah.
The trouble is if you put too much ink into the Bondo to make it nice and dark, then the Bondo won't set because it'll only tolerate so many % of foreign material before it changes its characteristics.
Well, what I did was to get aluminite dye, which is made to go into resin.
Yeah.
And it's extremely concentrated. And so you don't have to put very much of the dye in to get a really good good black or a good deep red or
Is
whatever.
it transparent? Is it transparent or solid?
I think the Alumilite dye is transparent, but I'm not positive. The white isn't. There isn't any transparent white dye.
And do you have to put it? And do you have to put it in a pressure pot?
No.
Okay.
You don't have to use it with Alumilite. You can use it with any sort of resin. So I use it with epoxy regularly. I don't use Alumilite. Sorry, Roman.
Hey.
Hello, Chuck Angstrom.
But anyway,
Chuck.
That dye is really strong, and it really gives you good, vibrant colors.
Which dye is that one?
It comes from Alumilite, the people that make urethane resins.
Yeah. Okay.
And epoxy, I guess.
Unmute yourself, Chuck.
Do you mix it or is it all pre-mixed, by the way, Joe?
You mean the dye?
The dye, yeah.
It comes in a little bottle, and it's really highly concentrated. I literally take a toothpick and dip it in the dye and then mix it into whatever resin that I got.
But you don't. Yeah, I haven't done a lot with dye. Just recently, I picked up some dye, and it's a powder form that you have to mix it up.
Oh no, this is liquid.
Got it. Yeah, I'll spend the extra $2 so I don't have to screw around with the powders. That's
yeah.
Are these mica powders?
$2, $20. What is it at most?
Are those mica powders?
Yeah, I don't know what the name is. The manufacturer.
The mica is different.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I forgot what the name of the manufacturer was or what it is. But it's alcohol. I know it's alcohol based. You mix it with alcohol.
Okay.
A little scotch can't hurt.
So mica is not transparent. It's a powder. It's actually mica.
Yeah.
And you mix it in directly into your epoxy.
Yeah.
Or your Alumilite or PR or whatever kind of resin you use. And so you can really control the color and the depth of the color.
Have you used it, Joe?
What, mica?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've got, I don't know, tons of it. All different colors.
It's the same stuff that they use in eyeshadow. Women's eyeshadow is mica based. Little tiny microscopic flakes. It's kind of like the pearl that they put in car paint.
Yeah, it's real pearl. I'll go get a piece, a blank. I've got a couple of blanks. You can see the mix of the color. This blank that I've got that I just made a couple of days ago, I used white mica because I'm trying to make dice with white epoxy, and I mixed up the extra, and then I put in some violet Alumilite dye, which gave it the violet color, but it was solid white in the background. It's a very cool look, but it'll take me a couple of minutes to go downstairs and get it.
Okay, everybody, run away.
I heard that.
Everybody talk about Joe now. Chuck Angstrom, unmute yourself, buddy. Let's hear your voice.
Thank you.
There we go. That's better. How do you do?
I'm
How you
okay.
doing out there in
I was using the space bar, but it didn't seem to work. So I had to click here and there, and all of a sudden it works. All's well. Very wet day yesterday, of course. We went up to Hearn Hardwoods, which is a real treat always.
Where is that?
Hearn Hardwoods is in Oxford, Pennsylvania. It's a 45, 50-minute trip from here, and they have got wood to die for.
Oh.
We had a nice time. I bought one piece of wood for $40.
Ouch. What is it?
They have, it's Tasmanian blackwood. They have many, many more pieces at many, many higher prices.
I'm sure.
What about lower prices?
Well, they have bins of cutoffs for $2 and $4 a pound, stuff like that, but
yeah,
it does add up pretty quick.
Sure.
It's
What's
a
the
great
name?
place to visit.
What's the name of the company?
Hearne, Hearne Hardwoods.
Where is Oxford?
Oxford is not too far above the Pennsylvania line. It would probably be an hour for you or folks in your neighborhood, maybe a little bit more. It's not hard to get to, although the roads up there are twisty and hilly in many places.
Is it north of Baltimore or is it farther east over by Chesapeake City?
I think it's probably somewhere in between. I'd have to get out a map and look. Just, Google Oxford, Pennsylvania, and I'll show you where it is. Hearne Hardwoods. They have a bandsaw there that they got out of the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard, which is really, really, really big.
Oxford, Pennsylvania.
Road trip.
How much wood did you buy there?
I only bought one piece, was $40.
Oh, just
I
one
have
piece.
bought others, but they have lots and lots and lots of stuff, all kinds of stuff from all over the world. It's worth a visit just to see the place, I think.
It's pretty much straight north, in the very north of Chesapeake. It's southeast of Philly. Well, it's pretty much east of Philly.
It's not east of Philly, west of Philly.
I'm sorry. Right, of course. Duh. Yeah, it's pretty much west of Philly and west of Wilmington, but it's definitely way east of Baltimore. Yeah.
There it is in Pennsylvania. Not too deep into Pennsylvania, but it's a pleasant trip. There's a decent place to eat in Oxford that we went to at a burger, the Sawmill restaurant.
Yeah, right.
Very congenial people. Very nice visit.
It's just north of Rising Sun. Yeah, which is in Maryland, right? I remember I went to Rising Sun once, saw the sun come up.
Good.
That's a joke.
It is kind of a fun trip. They're congenial and welcoming, and people talk to you, say something we can show you, can I help you find something, so forth and so on. I talked to a fellow who had made his own workbench. I said, well, what kind of wood is that? And he says, well, I read somewhere that the best workbenches are made from English hornbeam. So that's what I got.
Really?
Whoa. Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, and this guy clearly, it's just a gorgeous workbench. Oh my gosh.
So what are you going to do with your blackwood?
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet. Not sure yet. Maybe a pepper mill, maybe a couple of small hollow forms.
Ah, nice. Hey, Joe, you were talking about using a toothpick a minute ago.
Yeah.
I had a problem when I cut the tips off of my trans tint dye containers. When I turned them over to get a drip, I got a lot more than a drip. So if you can see these, you can buy these little suckers on Amazon. It's a little tiny bottle, has a needle top on it. And if you want one drip of dye, this is the way to get one little tiny drip of dye. You just put your dye in here and then turn it over and give it a bit of a squeeze, and you can go drip, drip, and they're really small drips. Yeah. So that's the way I measure my dye when I do formulas, to get a certain color. They're on Amazon. They're dirt cheap, a couple bucks for 20 of them or something.
Right. Okay, so here's the stuff, epoxy.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if is that in focus?
No.
Too close.
Yeah. Right about, yeah. That's pretty good. So What do you do with those when you done?
Well, so this is a pin blank, so I'm going to cut it in half and drill it and make a pin out of it. This is epoxy with acorn tops in it, which you can't really see because these are the acorn tops that I cut off the top.
Yeah.
And so it's going to look really cool. They look like little pieces of burl. I was real surprised.
You didn't do that in a pressure.
No, this was in the pressure pot. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I intend to sell this, so I don't want any bubbles. And I know that I can avoid the bubbles. So this is a pin with epoxy that's got blue and white mica in it, as well as pieces of wood. So this is a hybrid pin.
That is exactly part of why I thought of Roman with all of these burl, ambrosia chunks of silver maple that I've got, is that so many of them would just be perfect in that kind of a turning.
Yeah, they are. They call it worthless wood.
That looks really nice. That's a great pen. What pen kit is that?
It's some sort of JR. I don't know which one. There's a whole bunch of JR, George, JR, Executive, JR, all kinds of things. And it's one of those. They all have the same bushings. The parts are all the same. It's just the stuff is a little bit different. And so these are dice. I don't know if I can. Here, I'll hold up one of them. This is also this is pure mica in here. One part of it is a copper mica, and part of it is blue, and part of it is really dark blue, and part of it is silver. And so these micas really allow you to put really nice glitter and pearlescent look to the stuff that you're casting with.
Awesome. I haven't used it yet. What do you do with the dice? Is that like Dungeons and Dragons or what?
Yeah. I've got, this is a set of 7 for Dungeons and Dragons.
Ah, okay.
Not that I've ever played that game, but my daughter wants me to make dice for her, so that's where I got started doing the dice.
I don't want to date you, but my son grew up playing D&D.
I'm sure.
I hate to say that the first time I played it, it was called Zork. I worked for a company called BBN up in Cambridge, and we sat around. You still have
the dice?
No, but that was regular. That was regular dice. That was sitting on the floor.
Even the regular
in
dice
Cambridge.
From that long ago.
No. This was someone with a steno pad, and it was before. I remember. I do remember, 4 years later or whatever, they actually came out with Zork as a computer game, and it was like one of the first really early ones. But this was, I don't know, somebody at MIT made it up. And one of the guys we worked with, several guys worked with, was at MIT, and they used to play Zork all the time. I said, okay.
Amy, you're only 40 years old. How can that be?
I know, exactly. I was a child prodigy.
Well, the people that buy these dice, it's amazing. They know all the dice. They know the companies. They know whether they're out of print. They know whether it's using old glitter or new glitter, and it makes a difference. The old glitter is glitter that they use now to put in the euro bills. The print. They put that glitter in there, and so they can't use the glitter for anything else. And so those old glitter dice are worth a ton because nobody can ever make them again that have that stuff. But
I
these
had
people,
no idea.
it's a huge business. There are hundreds of people that make these dice and sell them. They have auctions. Some of these sets of dice will go for $100 for dice that somebody
So
like
in the
me made.
future,
It's
in the
crazy.
future, if we have a Joe Bernard set, is that going to be worth a lot?
No, no. I have to
Hey,
make a set
40
for my
years from
daughter. That's my that's the best I can do. But it is fun.
now I understand. Yeah. Now I understand all the stuff I've been seeing on Instagram. I've wondered.
Yeah. Yeah, my daughter said, "You should make dice." And then she said, "Oh, if you start making dice, you could make me a set of let's see, lavender colored dice." And so she goes on and on about the lavender dice that she wants.
How old is she?
23, 24.
She
Probably
doesn't. She hasn't gotten over lavender dice.
Apparently not. But she called me the other day and she wanted a pen. She's discovered that she can draw with fountain pens. So she wanted to know if I had any fountain pens. So I looked at, what I have, because I have, I don't know, a couple dozen pens that I have to have when I'm going to the market to sell stuff. And so I looked through and I had fountain pens left. I don't know where they've gone because people don't buy them. They come in to my booth and they start looking at the pens and they say, "Oh, do you have any fountain pens?" And if I say no, then they look at me like, "What kind of a scum are you that you don't have fountain pens?" And they don't look at another pen and they walk off. But if I say, "Oh yeah, I've got these," and I show them the fountain pens, they don't look at the fountain pens. They go ahead and buy some other pen. But you have to have fountain pens for sale, or they won't pay any attention to what you do have. It's bizarre. It really is.
When
But
you
anyway, so she picked out a pen. She wanted to buy it from me, and I told her I'd trade her for a painting. So she's going to send me a painting. She's quite the artist, honestly. That's the end of my story.
Fountain pens are a pain in the ass to write with because your whole hand. It was a fad at some time. Everybody had fountain pens, and especially depending. A lot of people, especially lefties, they're going in the wrong direction. And the whole thing.
I'm left-handed. I have to write like this with my hand.
Right, exactly. The whole hand is filled with blue.
Yeah. I'll
Joe,
show you one of her paintings.
when you send, do you sell more ballpoints or more roller balls?
I would say, honestly, it's different every week if I'm at the market. But I would say that I make more money off of the ballpoint pens because I sell more of them. But
yeah.
No, I don't. I wouldn't say I make more money off of them. I sell more of them, but I make more money off of the roller balls.
Individually,
Right.
you mean?
Yeah.
Total. They sell better. I mean, price wise, and the cost of making the pen, it's a better thing to work on than the slim lines. The slim lines, I can't sell those for more than like, I don't know, $15 a piece.
Yeah.
But a roller ball I can sell for 45. I mean, a cigar, a ballpoint. The other kind of ballpoints are cigars and Sierras, and I can sell them for about $45 a piece. But a roller ball I can sell for 75, 67,
right.
70, and so I don't have to sell as many of them to make up for all of the slim lines. Anyway, here's a painting that she made.
Oh,
Willie,
that's your.
This is
Your daughter did that?
yeah. This is one she painted.
Oh,
for
there we
me.
go. Oh, that's beautiful. I had to find you for some reason. The speaker isn't coming up, so I have to find you on the
Yeah,
gallery.
I know, it's weird.
That's love. Yeah, that's lovely. That's
She's
very
really
lovely.
remarkable. talent.
Really. Yeah.
One day she came downstairs from her room when she was still living at home, and she was all excited, and she had this little painting. It was about this big, but it was an impressionist painting, and it was real sort of spiky. And she said, "I painted this with my fingers," and she was just giddy with how excited she was that she'd done that. But it was really an excellent painting, and yet she just did it with her fingers because she decided, I wonder if I can paint with my fingers today.
And she continued with her artwork professionally,
she did some set designs when she was in high school, and she illustrated a book at Poolsville. But now she's in Los Angeles, and it's not the same.
What kind of work does she do?
What?
What kind of work does she do?
I think she works for she worked for the zoo.
Oh yeah.
She's a marine biologist.
Okay.
So she worked for the zoo, but she's like teaching at the zoo. And then we had the pandemic, and so they took all of those people and they made them work for the city. And so she was doing stuff like getting food to old people, stuff like that.
Good.
Because there wasn't
Be careful.
I'm an old person. Where did she come here?
At the zoo. But they screwed up.
Some old people.
They screwed up because they gave her too many hours. And so they have a law that if you get too many hours working for the city, they have to make you a permanent employee. So now she's a permanent employee for the city.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Outstanding. So her thing is pen and ink?
Well, now, she decided she discovered fountain pens and discovered she could manipulate the lines by changing the angle. And so now
what you just showed, that's pen.
Oh no, that's
There's
a
no
painting.
water.
This is an oil painting.
Okay. Okay. I was wondering.
It's got dust all over it.
I wonder how that happened.
Well, it's been sitting on the mantle. That's how.
Gentlemen, thank you for your help. I hear my dog. I hope you don't, but I hear my dog is ready for his evening constitutional. Thanks for your help, and I'll let you know whether you ruined my bowl. No, just
it can always be a half inch thinner. So
I work with. There's a lot of. I was telling somebody about. Did any of you see the Cindy Droysner, David Nittman talk? They gave it in Richmond, and it was a left brain, right brain discussion, and it was phenomenal. I still remember it. And when I saw her at whatever symposium, Pittsburgh or something like that, she actually says she sells it. I didn't know whether or not we have it in our. Do you guys have does MCW have a video library? Because I know CAW does, and I didn't know if they had it in there because it's really phenomenal. And I looked it up on AAW, and they don't have the video. But they do have an article that David and Cindy wrote, obviously when David was alive, about left brain, right brain. And there's so much about that. And the whole thing about wood turning for me is it's not an exact science for me. If I make a mistake, I make a smaller bowl. you know, and I work with, I do my turning at Nova Labs in Reston, and there's, it's a big wood shop, and band saws and table saws, and they're making all these different things, and it has to be just exact, and, and they have all these jigs to make the certain, joints and things like that. And I'm going like, oops, okay, it's smaller, and I love that. I love that freedom of my background is computer science. So I like the freedom of flexibility, of error, of being okay to go outside the lines. So,
there's a lot of left brain in those basket illusion pieces. That's
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, if I might even just buy it so I can distribute it to friends, because it was such a Cindy and David was kind of like a goofy kind of guy, and they had this like who's on first, what's on second kind of thing back and forth. Apparently from the article, if you look at AAW and you look them up, you'll find this one-page article that had written after that. But in the little introduction to that particular article, it said that they had given it to the local wood club, and then they developed it more for the Richmond symposium. And I still remember it. Of all the ones, it was really, really, really good, really good. Anyway, okay, I can you hear him? No, good. Okay, I'm going to go. Prince Harry is calling, and. You guys take care. I'm glad to see you all upright and healthy. Okay.
All right, Amy.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining in.
So Amy reminded me of something.
Don't talk about me. I have to get off. Here we go. I gotta leave you. So if you're gonna talk about me, wait until I leave.
Okay, we're just about to do that.
So I got an email from AAW saying we want a what do you call it, a recommendation for the prize that you won in the monthly drawing.
Oh, wait a minute.
I said, what? I don't know anything about no stinking monthly drawing. So it turns out that in January, I won a set of 4 DVDs from David Ellsworth.
Oh my God.
On open bowls, on hollow forms, on tools,
natural
tools, and on I can't remember. Oh, on using the Ellsworth grind. So these 4 DVDs, and so I had to contact him. So I contacted him, and he's sending me the DVDs. But I had no idea that I'd won this. The woman was like, well, we sent you a letter. They didn't send me any letter. I looked in all the places that the letter could have gone, and there wasn't any letter.
So why didn't they just send you the DVDs that they owed you?
Apparently Ellsworth has to send them to you. So meanwhile, there's other people that have like $100 of awards from Rockler and from various people that make bowl gouges and stuff. But I got DVDs and they're from David Ellsworth, so that's something. That's not a bad thing.
Great.
Not bad at all. All right, so let me throw this out since you mentioned it. The Ellsworth grind is actually not the Ellsworth grind. He learned it from Liam O'Neill. It's the Irish grind.
Right, and that's what I use.
Liam, yeah, sure. And Liam is going to be the AAW Masters demo on this coming Saturday, 2 days from now.
I saw that.
So I sent that out. I sent that out to everybody, but I'm really looking forward to seeing Liam again. I haven't seen him for, like 8 years.
Well, I remember that thing he did.
Yeah.
At MCW.
And
he talked about
when
that
we
grind.
had Liam. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, when we had Liam here in 2012, he did 2 of the 3 demos for us that he's going to do on this AAW demo. He did classic big wide rim beaded edge undercut rim bowl, which is the one I gave to Phil Brown after I finished it. And also he did the chainsaw, demo, which I had to go to the steel representative to borrow a steel chainsaw for Liam to use with his special jig. And when he got done, I had to clean the chainsaw to make it like new before I returned it to steel.
Speaking of left brain, right brain, I want to show you my little catch. And sadly, I'm not going to get to keep it. But
no, you don't have catches. Jeez, did you make that yourself?
I did not. I bought this from Derek Weidman.
Weidman, yeah. Wow. Whoa. I see those on his Instagram page all the time, but that's really impressive.
It is very impressive.
When you say you don't get to keep it,
I'm giving it to my sister-in-law. And
are you sure you like her that much?
Well, yeah, kind of. But she has, as the price went up, I was wondering. I said I'd buy it for this price. Then he said when he was done, okay, well, I could really use this extra. And then shipping is so, but no, I'm pretty excited.
Did you get a discount for the workshop that he did not come down for?
He came down for it, just late. But
no, he only got here for the demo. He didn't make the workshop.
Yeah, I know. But
do you remember when he broke out the torch? And we were all going, oh my God, he's going to set off the smoke detector.
But anyway, I'm very impressed.
Very cool.
And yeah.
Wow. To think that that's done on a lathe, that really pushes the boundaries, doesn't it?
He does a little bit, he does some carving to true it up, but for the most part, it's done on the lathe. So, yep. He's quite.
Well, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, when he was here for the demo, he did a Velociraptor in about an hour. It's amazing.
Yep. Absolutely.
He just starts thinking and he sees the picture and he draws a little bit and then poof, it comes out. And it's beyond
for years after that, I looked to see if he ever advertised that Velociraptor to see if he had finished it and sold it, but I could never find it again after that.
Yeah, I think it probably cracked on him.
Yeah.
These he hollows out at the back, and then so it doesn't crack. So sorry.
We lost your video, Tim.
Yeah, I know. He hollows them out, and then so it doesn't crack, and it'll dry quicker.
Yeah.
So
that is really cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss him.
Shows what you can do on a lathe with a little imagination.
No, a lot of imagination.
Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna say that, Tim.
I stand corrected. Okay, hey Chuck, what are you zooming to? Where are you going, buddy?
I'm gonna go visit with some friends that I have plans for about 8:30. So I just wanted to check in for a minute, say hi to everybody. Good to see you all. I'll see you all on Saturday morning with Lee.
Good to see you, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck.
Good to see you, Chuck.
Take care, Chuck.
Saturday morning.
Bye-bye.
What's going on Saturday morning?
That's the Liam.
Oh, I thought it was in the afternoon.
Liam O'Neill,
What
AAW,
time?
but we won't see him because of the webinar, so we don't get to see each other.
What time is that, Gary? 1 o'clock?
I think it's 11 a.m. I sent an email to
Yeah, I
all
know.
the members about it.
Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah,
I
that,
have
I
to
think
get
that
going.
was before. That was before you joined MCW, Ken. So
Yeah.
you didn't get to see him, but if you looked up the link that was in that email that I sent out, you can see what he did for us.
11 a.m. Yeah.
11
Yep.
p.m. Okay.
Guys, I have
Sign
to
up
get
tomorrow.
going, but it's been fun, and I'll see you next time too.
Hey, Jeff, how's your foot?
What?
You've been quiet, buddy. How's your foot?
Slowly but surely. It's been 5 months, and I'm still in physical therapy. So
Oh, man. Hey, have you run that 5K yet?
no.
Okay.
Take care.
Okay.
See you later, Jeff.
See you, Jeff.
Yeah,
Jeff, when you were talking about your frames, I was thinking about Frank Jessup down at CAW, talking about making little cosmetic mirrors, and what he'd do is get a little round mirror and turn a container for it. And he said he got them fitting really, really well. And then he sent them to a shop someplace, and all of a sudden the shops call him going,
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so he learned there.
The guy who makes those and sells a ton of them is John Lucas. He posts very frequently on the Wood Central forum. And the thing that John makes very clear is that you make the hole bigger than the mirror and you glue it in with something like E6000. You use a silicone rubber adhesive so that it's flexible. Otherwise, the mirror will break.
Are his face grain or end grain? I once saw a video or it was like an interview on some wood like magazine like thing.
It was an AAW.
Was it an AAW thing?
Yeah, a couple of months ago, he had a little article on that.
Yeah, they're side grain.
Yeah.
Which means, of course, that they oval, and when the temperature and humidity change, they do warp. And so he always makes sure to leave them a little bit of leeway, and he uses, a flexible adhesive, because if you put them in tight, they're going to break.
You could stabilize the wood.
Ha! Fat chance. Put it in epoxy, right?
No, cactus juice. Stabilize.
Yeah, what I meant.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't think that they
that
move
would
after
probably.
I don't think they'd move after that.
If you see John Lucas's mirrors, well, I mean, by all means, Google John Lucas and look at his mirrors. They're hand mirrors. They're classic old ladies' hand mirrors with a big long handle on them.
Yeah.
And what he does is absolutely amazing. Everyone is different, totally unique. The best there is. Great work. I got to have lunch with him once. Where was it was at one of the symposia. We had a Wood Central lunch during the symposium. I'm blanking now on where it was. It could have been Hartford, or might have been after that. I think it was probably Hartford. He's a great guy, really just very easygoing, just very relaxed, very cool guy.
I mean, you could probably use some sort of little hook tool like thing to make a recess in your recess that would allow the wood to move around the mirror.
Like a breadboard connection on a table. breadboard end.
Yeah, that could be. I don't know
Not
that.
exactly the same, but
You're talking flat woodworking to us. Come on, we don't
I
know
know.
that shit.
Sorry. It's my history coming out. With a breadboard end, what you do is you have two connections in the middle, and then at the ends of the board where it's cross grain, you have oval holes, and then you have your pegs in those oval holes, and as the width of the table shrinks and widens, that those oval holes move back and forth, but your pegs in the cross grain piece don't move, and so it doesn't crack. It's kind of a classic cabinetry sort of design.
I think East 1000 is your friend.
No, it won't work. It'll
Ah,
crack. It'll shrink and crack.
no, E6000 is a silicone adhesive. It's the stuff like you put on your shoe sole.
Oh, but are you sure? Are you sure that's not just a real
Yes.
solid
Let me
adhesive?
get it.
See what you get, Joe?
What?
Here's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
It's a silica rubber adhesive, and it dries nice and hard, but it's flexible. It's kind of like heavy rubber when it's dry, and it sticks to almost anything. It sticks to glass, plastic, wood, metal, you name it, it sticks. It's let's see, made by trying to see who makes it. You can you can buy it online
I've
very
got
easily.
some, Gary.
Oh, okay. Well, have you used?
I haven't used it in a while, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't
it
use
works.
it on a table.
No, I'm talking about your mirrors. Definitely not a table. It's fun to say who made it.
Yeah, I use some of that stuff for an insert for a coffee cup, metal insert, and turn the outside for two reasons. Number one, the heat was going into the coffee cup, and the second one was it just gave it a little flexibility, so as the heat expands and contracts the metal, doesn't crack the wood.
Yeah, it's
Seems
good
to have
stuff.
worked fine so far.
Yeah, I haven't had any problem with it letting go on any material. Really stick.
Gary, that the demo on Saturday, the woman from Chicago who did the miniatures, I think she uses that E6000.
Okay.
That's the first time I heard about it.
Okay. You've been using it for years. Put it on the bottoms of my shoes when they start wearing down. It doesn't come off. That's the ultimate test. I can walk on stuff and it doesn't let go.
With the silicone.
Yeah. Yeah, when my sneakers start to wear thin on one end, I just squirt some of this on and it stays on. It does not come off. Wears down just like the material on the soles of these, but it doesn't come off.
It's like shoe goo.
It is, yes. Exactly. I forgot about shoe goo. Yeah. Same stuff. Buy shoe goo.
When you got a teenage kid who wears really cheap shoes, boots. You got to know about shoe goo.
I've got a pair of rubber shoes, and I mean that quite literally. They're called Dogs, Dawgs. They're made in Canada, and I can't get them anymore. And it's what I wear when I'm turning outside. And I've got one spot that continues to wear out. And so I keep putting patches on it with E6000.
Where do you get it from? Where do you get that E6000?
Hardware store, Home
Hardware?
Depot. Oh yeah, you can get it on Amazon very easily. It's universally available.
Okay.
And Joe says, "Blah ha ha ha." Come on, say that out loud, Joe. How do you say "blah ha ha ha"? And
like
what's
I
the
did.
B? And what's the B for?
It's when you try not to laugh. You
Oh, I see.
bust out laugh.
You keep your mouth closed and try to hold it in. I got it.
Exactly.
Okay. Blah. Love it.
I'm internet savvy.
There we go. That's it. Thank you. Now we're talking. Now that was a good one. That one came naturally. So here we are. We're working on an hour and a half. We're down to 8 people. We only had what, 13 in the beginning or 12? I must say I'm kind of disappointed. I've done everything I can do to try to get people out. I was hoping for 25 and we ended up with half that. What the hell's wrong with our members?
Some of them may still be like me. I realize not everybody's been able to retire. I think before we started, I had probably spent 7 hours in Teams or Zooms or some version of that today, and that's almost every day. Some more than 7 hours a day in virtual meetings. It's a challenge as much as I miss everybody to stay at the computer for more time into the evening.
I certainly appreciate you showing up, even though your name is Christopher. It was nice to you and Marjorie.
Zoom is going to be what he uses at school, so it shows up with his name.
Yeah, but most of us are old retired people. It's not like you working hard. God, I mean, seriously.
Yeah, you just planned better. You got to retire earlier.
Can you show us some of all that beautiful color that you sent me last night? Can you share your screen and show some of those bowls you're working on?
It is in, I don't know that I've downloaded the pictures to my PC. Just a second, I can. I think download.
If it's not too much trouble, that would be great for everybody to see. I love those. They're really nice. And that natural edge vase you're working on too.
Yeah, and that came, by the way, from this nasty, ugly piece of wood that when Ellen was clearing out her shop, she just gave me while I was taking this other stuff. And I almost said, no, that's fine. I don't need that. Somebody else will love it. But I went ahead and graciously accepted it. And it really turned out pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I saw that picture of it.
That's the best kind. Yep, that's the best kind.
So I think these are all of them. Okay.
Thank you, Steve Leshin. We're really happy that you came and sorry you couldn't get your picture on there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if this does it. Are you seeing my screen?
No.
No.
Well, shoot.
There's a
It
share
looks
screen
like
there,
it.
Beard.
I'm still seeing your face.
I am so sorry about that. There's nothing I can do about my face.
There you go.
There we go.
Now we're working.
Yeah, there's
There it is. Oh my
So-
God, it's gorgeous.
And it stands just over 12 inches tall. Give
Wow.
you a sense of the scale. But it had all this just kind of nastiness on top and these chunks gone, and it had already been shaped a little bit on the outside. So I said, well, let's just see.
Scott,
And it,
Scott would be proud of you. Make sure you send a picture of that to Scott.
The other pieces you can see, let me see if I can move that over here.
Oh, what's the wood, by the way?
I think it's tulip.
Yeah, it looks like it. The
Really?
color.
Okay. Ah, that makes absolutely.
Um,
Although the bark, maybe not.
Yeah, well.
It had some classics with tulip, but again, this oddity in here, you can't see, but on the other piece and here, there were some cracks that were significant that made me question my sanity because they were down towards the base, and I've got all this mass on the outside as I'm hollowing it out, but they held together. But you were talking
I
about
love your OG.
color, and you can start seeing, this is color tone, which is what they use in the guitar industry. It's a lot like transient, just different, applied in alcohol and then diluted with alcohol, applied through an airbrush. So trying to get a deep purple, you can see the red. This is a beautiful, in fact, I think I've got another shot of that.
You actually dye outside?
No, these are the other bowls.
Oh yeah. Right.
But that's one of the purple ones. So this was kind of taking something from Gary that you and I had talked about, which was being brave enough to add color even on bowls that you could argue carry themselves with the grain.
Right.
So I've got this ambrosia, maple burl that not a burl, sorry, spalted. That
ambrosia.
Ambrosia, yeah. Sorry, thank you. That was just gorgeous on its own, and it's got this pith about 2 inches down that we managed to keep it from cracking too badly. But we, went ahead and added the color anyway, and was relatively pleased. Is that it? I thought I had another one of the inside of this bowl, but I guess I don't. This one is about an 18-inch diameter for scale for the rest, and then of course the camera's a little closer to it. But anyway, it's been fun playing with color. Right now they just have a nitros, a couple coats of nitros sanding sealer on them. So I've got to sand them up and then put a couple more coats of satin. Anyway, yeah, it's been fun. I hadn't got to play in the shop in quite a while, so it was good getting to do that some more.
As I said to you last night, I really love your Asian style rice bowl foots on those. Those hollow foots really work.
It's fun, and I've got kind of, you'll see, I tend to, this one was straight, but I tend to do an undercut, less than 90 on most of them too, with that smaller foot. I like the way it offsets, certainly. So Gary, I will show you one other that, just a second, let me stop sharing.
Boy, my computer is just going freaking crazy. Yeah.
Stop sharing, there it is. I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's another one of the Japanese foot. But what it is, I took your dye recipe with a piece of cherry that had some defects. It had a big crack, a few cracks. I turned it pretty thin, textured the heck out of the inside with just a sharp point tool, textured the outside. You probably can't see, it's too bright, but it's got a heavy line texture across it. And then I dyed the inside of the outside. This is just, there's no color added. It's just bleached cherry and the textured circle.
Oh, wow.
I had no
Oh my
idea that cherry
God.
would bleach that
What kind,
well.
what kind of, it's
Yeah, it's
cherry?
cherry with your
Whoa.
bleach.
You bleach
Wow.
it? You bleach it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's
Oh my
just
God.
bleached, and then I think I've got Odie's wax on it or something.
What's
Oh.
the
No,
bleach
no,
recipe?
That's amazing. I had no idea the bleach would get that light on cherry.
It was yellow at first, and then about 6. It's still got a little bit of yellow, but about 6 or 7 applications later, I really like the contrast.
Yeah. Oh, that's effective.
What's
Wow.
what's the bleach recipe?
It's just my standard stuff. It's just it's pool oxidizer and lye.
It's 20%, I think it is, peroxide, and then lye. But if you look under Gary's publications on our website, for what it's worth, or I forget what you call them, but he's got the recipe on our website.
On our website right now, it's under tips.
Okay.
It was also in the AAW magazine in the journal on American Woodturner back in, I don't know, what, 2013 or somewhere back there.
I think it was 2012 either.
For several of those colored ones that I was showing you, I bleached the outside maybe 4 times, and then applied the color over the bleach.
Yes.
And really liked the way that worked.
I wondered why those colors were so pure. That's the answer. Yeah, that really works. Yeah, if anybody wants about that bleach, just look on our website under tips, and then you'll see one called bleach, and that's where it is. It's nothing but regular old lye, 100% pure lye. Don't use drain cleaner. Most drain cleaner, like what's that main drain cleaner? Most Drano. Don't use Drano because that has metal particles in it. But just 100% lye and 27% hydrogen peroxide, which you can buy as pool oxidizer.
Where do you get the lye from?
Oh, Ace Hardware.
Yeah, okay. The drain cleaner. But it's,
yeah,
it's just
let me
pure
hang
lye.
on a minute. Hang on a minute, and I'll get it. I'll show you. I think it's called Rudo.
You know, I thought they stopped selling lye because it's an explosive or something.
Not at all.
No?
It's not hard to get.
No.
Politicians are selling lye all the time.
What's that?
Politicians are selling lye all the time.
Steve, how did you keep the color, the dye borderline so crisp?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I cut a deeper groove, kind of like you do with your pyro when you're adding color and you want that color to catch and bleed. I added a slightly deeper groove at the top of the bottom, so if I did have a little bit, and I used a sponge brush to apply it, but if I had a little bit that wanted to flow, it caught that deeper groove and just went around the groove rather than migrating across the wood.
So it was all dyed first, and then the bleach took it away, or the other way around?
There's no dye on this. On this piece, it's just bleached, cherry.
I see.
The
So
other pieces.
the brown part is just the natural cherry.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, I thought I missed. Yeah, that's cool.
Yep, sorry. So the dye was on the other pieces that I was showing with the color. I bleached the outside and then dyed the outside, and a couple of them I bleached the inside too.
So, you know, if you put potassium dichromate on that cherry, it will get a real deep red. You might really even really show the difference more if you did that.
Potassium dichromate is rocket fuel, isn't it? That's dangerous stuff.
Nah, just don't get it on your fingers.
Yeah. Actually, if you put regular baking soda on wood, it gets all crazy. Like Bob's the one that figured this out. We were playing, or what were we doing that day, Bob? You put, somehow we ended
Fractal
up,
burning.
that's what it was. Yeah. We were trying to make it conductive, and we put baking soda on it, it changed color. It turned kind of a reddish purple. What kind of wood was that? Beech?
Yes, probably something. It was just maybe a pine board or something. We were just playing around.
Yeah.
So it was an oxidant, right?
Yeah, but what you do is you don't use that you use borax, trimultine borax, and you can get the conduction with that without darkening the wood.
Mm-hmm. But if you want to darken wood or make it some kind of a different color, just plain, it's worth experimenting with baking soda. It really does have an effect on some woods.
Yeah.
Here's the root. Here's the Rudo. This is a lifetime supply of Rudo drain cleaner.
It takes
Which is
like
100%.
Quarter teaspoon for something that would, you would have enough for a bowl or two for 24 hours that it lasts.
And here's the pulverizer. It's called Baquicil. At least this particular brand that I got like 10 years ago was. But it's just a typical pool oxidizer. It's 27% hydrogen peroxide, and that does the job. You make like a 1 molar solution of lye and throw in the back with, this is your A and B. If you buy that real expensive bleach, wood bleach, it's nothing. This is part A and part B right here.
I love the grain, the texture of ash. I like being able to sandblast ash. I like being able to use liming wax. I hate the yellow color of ash. Can't stand it. But the bleach applied to the ash softens it down to not quite a white, but it gives you a really nice color. So it's made of wood that I used to hate having anything finished in ash to something that I really, really enjoy now.
Excellent.
You talk about not using Drano because it has some metal in it. Has anybody ever tried using Drano and seeing what the results would be? Whether they change the consistency, whether they had a shine, whether what that would do.
It would probably work. I don't know what would happen with the metal in there.
Yeah.
God knows. I mean, that's another experiment. Okay, you do it, Bob, and tell us what happens.
That's right. Yeah, Drano and rocket fuel. We'll see.
You get some really nice fractal burning with that the metal in there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think I'll do it outside.
But yeah.
When I was in high school, I remember I had potassium perchlorate. It was like purple crystals. And I'm a crazy kid. I threw them into a glass container with some fuming nitric acid to see what would happen. The thistle tube hit the ceiling. My chemistry teacher was none too happy for me. But that wasn't even close to the time I set off a CO2 cartridge full of zinc and sulfur in one of the hoods. It was supposed to be a rocket. I didn't know that the ignition time was 1/4 of a second. Other people would call it an explosion. I paid for that because it covered the entire laboratory. Every horizontal surface was covered with a powder white of zinc slide, and it took me hours to clean it. I also had to clean the brown spot off his chair.
You know what the Atomic Energy Commission calls an explosion?
Oh, God.
It's an energetic disassembly.
Yeah, right.
This is the true terminology.
Really?
Yeah.
And oh my God, an ED. Oh yeah. Well, that's what Elon Musk has his RUDs. That's when one of his prototypes explodes on the ground, right? He calls it an RUD. It's a rapid, unexpected disassembly.
Yeah, a few of those on the lathe.
Yeah.
You gotta love the guy. He's the other one getting real up. I think SN, what, 11 is getting ready. One of these times he's actually going to keep it on the ground without it exploding.
No doubt.
I just love the
I
difference.
could do that if I had $100 billion. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, that's right. You got to love the difference, though, from a scientific point of view between Elon Musk and NASA. NASA spends 25 years and $25 billion to make something work, and he just blows them up until they work.
That's pretty much the scientific method.
Yeah, that's right.
The only difference is NASA's using our money and Musk is using his.
That's true.
Now, the only problem I would have with that is if I were one of his few neighbors down there in Texas. There's a few people in his neighborhood that have a problem with these rockets coming down and exploding in their backyard. But you know, that's life in the fast lane. So are we done? Has everybody had their fun?
I think should be about it.
Yeah.
It was nice seeing everybody again. I can't wait for it to be